We are at the Cowspada Company with Alessandra, and we ask Alessandra to tell us a little bit about the company, where it comes from, and what you do.
Our company was founded in the 70s, so we have been in business for 50 years and was born within the exodus of Sardinian shepherds from Sardinia. In the 70s in Sardinia, there were too many sheeps and too little space, so you dreamed big, anything. There was no way you could achieve any kind of dream in Sardinia. In the Marche region where sharecropping ended, so sharecroppers left the lands of the big landowners to go to work in the industrial centers and earn their free time and wages. The landowners found themselves without farmers, so they no longer had income, their lands no longer produced wealth, and so they sold off these lands. The Sardinian shepherds, from the word of mouth of the first one who left and the business that could be done, arrived here in the Marche, as in Lazio, as in Umbria and Abruzzo, like pirates to Treasure Island, basically, because there was space here, and what you see is like what was there in the 70s. The Sardinian shepherds came as the new custodians of Montefeltro, of the Marche region, because with their livestock grazing that leaves gold behind, and then from the beginning organic farming, they set out to do what they knew how to do, so produce milk and turn it into cheese.
So you today are a cutting-edge company, a company that has had a generational change. Tell me, how do you work, and what values do you base the work you do on? So there is a history that you carry with you. There is a generational change. That has been done. I guess some of the elders are still there, though. Elders in quotes, otherwise they get offended.
The generational change for us has not happened as you normally hear, because it is more of a merger between the new generation and the founding generation. It is a merger because we are the ones who are trying to have at least half of their eye and skills, and undoubtedly our skills, which are certainly seen by seniors as innate, such as using all the technology and everything you need to carry out for this kind of job, because it's not only about how nice it is to work in nature, how beautiful the animals are, because there are phases of the job that are purely bureaucratic and they affect so much in daily life. My father says that if we were not around to do certain things, he would have already closed the business. But we contribute with what we can do, and that they cannot do, while they contribute with what they still do and with the eye that they have, because theirs eye is the watchful eye. It is their presence that gives us so much security, and we manage to carry out a daily routine that does not involve who knows what steps. In fact, the actions to be taken could be the same as 50 years ago. The times to be met are different because the rhythms have naturally changed, as in any company that wants to stay in the market, and in addition, underlying everything, there must still be common sense.
What are the founding values of your business, of your company?
Basically, we cannot talk only about our values. We also should talk about respect at every stage of the processing, respect in the field because we have always been doing organic farming, respect for the herd because we have always been farming in the wild, and the herd comes back to the barn only to receive care, comfort, milking, protection from wolves because there are those too, respect for the raw material because the milk is not in any way treated or otherwise mistreated, and especially further respect for the finished product because it is a product without the use of any kind of preservatives either outside or inside, so absolute simplicity to achieve the highest quality standards. There is no need to invest to get perfect products because the cheese itself is a perfect manufacture. It is self-protecting. It is self-maintaining. So it is not in our interest to turn this company into an industrial system. We want to maintain the human level of any issue, of any sphere, because at the end of the year, in the heading of the company's balance sheets, there should also be serenity. Of everyone, this fundamental for us, because if there is a reason why we work and want to work, and if there is a reason why we want to invest it, is to reach the highest levels of quality of life, which does not mean having full wallets and lots of money, but having an intense, rich, and valuable life, as far as relationships are concerned, family, raising children, because behind every one of us who works there is a family, and having a lot of money and not being able to share it with anyone doesn't make sense to us. Money is the side effect of having fun. A daily life spent well, it is not the goal. It comes later.
This is of great interest to us. So why is Cow Spada a short supply chain company? Why are we talking about short supply chain for you?
We talk about short supply chain, but not because there is a planning around short supply chain. You did not build the company by saying, let's make a short supply chain. No. Short supply chain is a modern term that summarizes the operations that normally belong to all farms. There was no farm that did only farming. There was no farm that did only livestock, closed cycle, short supply chain, because organic farming, organic pastures, the herd grazes on this land. We produce milk, we process this milk. Producing cheese, we market it. We directly interface with the market. The market that is then entirely managed by us. All the customers we have are customers who have sought us out, and not that we have sought out. And so this creates added value. We do not supply large retailers, but only shops with a capital S, stores that have evolved, and so they too have had their generational change, and we are dealing with the children of the elders who knew my father and uncle. Wine shops, restaurants, and we can ship all over Italy and Europe in 24 hours, so we can maintain freshness and always handle it directly.
You also sell to buying groups. Are you also part of this circuit here?
Buying groups often organize themselves and come directly to the grocery store. However, there are others that are not really buying groups, but are more like real businesses that do distribution of groceries, such as Just Groceries can be. And then gas, but not too much either.
You were saying earlier that customers have sought you out, so you don't do a lot of marketing. You rely on product quality and word of mouth.
Word of mouth is a beautiful thing. People come in who have tasted the cheese here and there and are kind of addicted, half addicted, and they come in because the cheese remained in their memory. That's the goal. When the cheese remains in their memory, when one bite leaves you with a memory, it means you've hit the jackpot. When the product speaks for itself, marketing becomes fun, because in front of something that you don't have to explain, you feel much more confident.
Of course, and also the fact that you were saying earlier, when we had the pre-interview chat, that you often don't have the product for everyone, because being direct producers, and therefore using only your own milk, there is not always the product for everyone. That is also part of a short supply chain characteristic of the activity.
It is absolutely part of the short supply chain, but more importantly, there is a seasonality, and so all products are not available all year round. It's like fruits or vegetables. Every fruit has its season, and so do cheeses. Aged cheeses you can find in the winter, and fresh cheeses, clearly, you have them all year round. And we also related to territorial factors of tradition, because we were not producing 2 milk cheeses, but our own customers asked us to do it, to produce it. Because at a certain point in the year, from September to December, our cheese would disappear from the market. Our customers accepted it as a thing, more or less. However, at a certain point they get tired of hearing, there is not, there is not, there is not. So they say, do us something, do us something. And our territory is definitely known for the famous Kashota, the Kashota of Urbino. We do not adhere to any kind of PDO specification, because for us it is not a synonymous of quality and guarantee. However, our traditional 2-milk product is our Kashota. It is traditional. We talk about one of the favorite cheeses of Michelangelo, Raphael, and Federico, though I would start from further down because Kashota belonged to all the tables of everyday life in these countryside. 50 people lived in these houses. Minimum, there were 10 sheep and 5 cows. That milk was mixed and Kashota was born.
So it fed the
So
land
it
and the
nourished
houses.
the land. We have dedicated ourselves to producing this Kashota and following the path of the Kashota, always with 2 milks. The cow's milk we buy from our colleagues who specialize in milk production 10 minutes from here. And we also make other cheeses like it can be Matico, which starts out as problematic. But then even there, every dairy has its wrong cheese. Everyone has it, and in most cases it turns into the lucky shot. For us, the lucky shot came because we thought we would have to throw out 300 forms. However, you can always throw out in time. So what do? You look at it, you try to understand. We figured out who made the mistake and what they did wrong, and so now perfected the mistake. We replicate that mistake, and that became the rule. So away with the problems, it remains Matico. However, it was born as problematic, floured rind, soft paste in the wake of the French cheeses.
So, Alessandra, how do you work in a company like yours? What skills do you have to have? How are you organized? Tell us.
The beauty of a company like this, as there are so many, is that what there is to do is seen, and to see it, you have to have a gift which is rigor, perseverance, because it's not drudgery or sacrifice, it's constancy. That is it. This is a job that has to be managed 365 days a year, because the flock also eats on Sundays, they also eat on Saturdays, they also eat on Easter and Christmas, and so it's constancy, it's presence, it's not fatigue, and perhaps the competence that should belong to everyone. As an approach to work is the intensity with which one performs any task. Because no one can expect to be born or arrive on a farm and know how to do anything, you can learn everything. There are some things that really require a lot of experience, and there is no training or schooling or courses there that give you certain disciplines, certain skills, and so experience matters so much. More the intensity with which you carry out anything is the commitment. If the goal is to do everything well, it's a job you see done at the end of the day. You see it built, and that's what the farm needs. Because the farm is not simply walking around in the green and pampering the animals. It is anything but. It is not the fairy tale that they want us to believe, and also the fairy tale that they want so many young people to believe in, to force them back to the land. It's a really complicated job because the bureaucracy is overwhelming us. But it's not that with this farmers are thinking of tying themselves to bell towers or chaining themselves or burning things. They're not doing that. However, you have to be ready, especially psychologically, to deal with all that paper, because 80% of agriculture is on screen. It's on paper. So those are things that have to be considered.
You were saying earlier that this more administrative and bureaucratic aspect is handled more by you, in quotes, younger people, and that instead the older people, the ones who have the know-how, the knowledge even of production, who have the eye, you said earlier, the eye, the supervision, help you a lot and support you in the production process. Did I understand you right?
Absolutely. Seniors furthermore make use of science and technology of professionals to deal with all the bureaucracy involved in agriculture. We, on the other hand, try to manage all sorts of manuals that are needed for any kind of production, to handle customer management at the administrative level, at the communication level. Everything any business needs, the farm needs it today.
Do you produce only pecorino cheese?
No, we do not produce only pecorino cheese. We have devoted ourselves to traditional two-milk productions. We do not produce cow's milk, but rely on a farm that is 10 minutes away from here, which produces cow's milk, is a farm specialized in cow's milk production. And we do both traditional cachotta production and other cheeses such as Matico, which is a two-milk bloomy rind and soft paste, or much larger cheeses of 10-15 kilos. And we are having a lot of fun, even our yogurt to say, is a two-milk cow sheep.
I was reading on the website that you also produce flour. Or no, did I read it wrong?
We are part of the regional organic macro supply chain in the sense that we are contributing members of the two largest consortia in the Marche region, which are TerraBio and Montebello, so we confer grain.
You confer grain, very good. Then you told us that most of the customers have sought you out. So is there a conscious choice on the part of your customers?
There is a conscious choice because you don't need degree to understand good things. You don't need course, you don't need training. Plus, when you take a bite of a cheese, it has to produce a memory. It has to be imprinted in the brain. The brain stores good things like when as a child we remember a scent or smell. Cheese is conceived in a gentle way, gentle workings are ours, and it must be a playful moment. When shopping for groceries, it is not necessary to fill your carts. But for a healthy health and a healthy mind, it is enough to eat little and well. Cheese is demonized because it is fat. However, in everything, it is the abuse that is bad for you. Cheese creates joy. It creates addiction. It stimulates parts of the brain that are the same parts that stimulate drugs. So at some point, I say, why do we always have to set out to find the rules, even at the table? This you have to eat it this way. This you have to eat it that way. Cheese has belonged to man for 10,000 years. We all have it in our DNA. So those who seek us out is because they need that effect there.
One has a memory then. Are you networking with other companies with the same philosophy?
We are in a network with other companies, but they are basically companies that have joined together to have more or less the same line of communication towards those who reach Montefeltro, or this geographical area from outside, and therefore to be all connected on the same line. We are all producers. We are all aimed at a certain kindness in every aspect. We have associated ourselves, but to make sure that the experience in this area is formative, and that it is not so random as pinballs, but that it is guided.
Very good. Thank you, Alessandra.